Hey everyone, this is DayTraderRockStar, and I'm going to do a special Monday night market update video because we had such a good watch list and so many interesting setups today. I wanted to go over and review some of those. We had some great trading on the site today. But just to kind of reflect on what we were looking at Friday after we got that sell-off, we understood that, seeing that sell-off wasn't the end of the world because we were getting very close to being oversold on the 60-minute chart. So going into last Friday and putting out the watch list, quoting from the watch list release, looking for continued weakness early Monday. We get the gap down or the early slide, I will sell my SPY puts, which we ended up doing, and then looking for a turnaround later in the day or looking for an opportunity to pick up some quality. That's exactly what we did, but we actually had some really good setups today, and I think having the discipline, I was going to say, the discipline of waiting and preparing ourselves for those setups. And the reason I think a lot of these worked, even in a market that kind of flushed early in the morning, we're able to understand levels in the market where we wanted to pick up things. So we're going to kind of review some of those trades and actually take a look at some trades for tomorrow. And we're going to make this fast. I just did a video also just for those out there, for members out there in Day Trading Radio. I put it in the membership forum. It's also in the Trader Alert box. I did a whole educational video on the 1-2-3 pattern, which has been showing up a lot in this market, and I did that cheat sheet for that. So that cheat sheet now is released for members, and the 1-2-3 pattern playbook play is released, and it's there in the Trader Alert box and also in the membership forum if you can't find it. So here we go. We ended up selling off early this morning, and then lo and behold, we were oversold on the 60. We kind of sideways consolidation, and we started rallying at the end of the day. And even with the rally at the end of the day, it was pretty impressive. It was a slow grind, but no doubt there was an upside bias to this. And we leave off now with that 60-minute chart still setting up pretty good. I'm going to go back here, just fix this chart for a second. There we go. Still looks okay, but there is the possibility of that breakdown here, because we do have this what we call a 1-2-3 pattern playing out in the market. This is a standard. What we want to look for on a 1-2. It's not predicting a move down. Definitely not predicting a move down. But when we see these type of pivots show up in the market, a definite pivot here, a lower high here, representing the pivot. Two pivots make a straight line. The parallel line is put in there. We understand that this level could come into play, and if it does, it will be an area where I aggressively look at bounce. Getting a bounce there. So we don't know if we're going to actually break down there, break back down. The possibilities there. We're right on the 200 period moving average on the 60. Remember, this is a 60. But one thing we have to also pay attention to, the daily chart. And we go back on the daily chart, and what do you see here? It's just a similar trade that's been happening for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 months. Any type of pullback just flagged out, basically came down to the 50 period moving average. Didn't really even break down through. Here we did in November, which was the last time we really kind of pulled back. Last November, and again, you can see the oversold level, the little flag holding around the 50, getting back into an oversold level, holding that 50, back down into an oversold level, holding that 50, and we're up here by the 20 period moving average, and we're getting oversold. This is actually continues to be quite bullish, considering we're still holding up above that 20 period moving average. It does give us a little further to move down if we decide to come down and kind of flag out here, but the potential for the push back up here is definitely not out of the question, and we get a cross back over here. Anything could happen. We could actually bust out of here to the upside, and next thing you know, we're heading back up. So let's take a look at some of the trades we did today, which were I think were great. We concentrated on Verizon. VZ was one of the first scalps of the day, and what we noticed here is the steepness of the sell-off. So we oversold on the daily, oversold on the 60. We had that gap down. All of a sudden, we recognized there was a steep channel line here. Steep channel line means, it doesn't matter. The channel line is still there. It's a recognizable pattern, basically. Underlying pivot areas, bouncing. It connects, a straight line connects, and you come down to it. The next time you get down to it, you buy it. So we ended up picking it up right off of that level, a little bit higher. 47.90 it was. 47.90 we picked it up, and and it was a good trade. It moved up here to 48.66. I took it off before that, but I got a nice scalp out of it. And we could see how important that was. Just to, even though the market was selling off aggressively, we weren't afraid to step in because that underlying trend line was there. And these are the setups we always want to take. So, this is the goal for Day Trading Radio, is to, strive for only the best setups. Have the patience until they show up. Verizon was a classic example of that today. Dunkin' Donuts was a classic example of that today. DNK, another ended up being a scalp. It was going to be an entry, but look where we came down to, that lower recognizable channel line. We had this thing planned out on the HPS setup. It was one of the HPS sites and setups. We had a fast flush down. We picked it up. Boom. It took off, and now it actually looks great. And you can see the big candlestick reversal, the oversold flag. Everything looks good on it. Big candle here. Even volume picked up, so it actually looks quite good. It closed on the highs. Everything looks for a further push higher, and I would like to get back into this one too. But again, that's what we want to do. Each and every time, we don't want to be, guessing or anything. We want to take the pitch over the plate. We want the count in our favor, and we want that that hanging curveball, and we want to take that swing right there, the best possible swing we can, and when everything's lining up. And Dunkin' Donuts was a perfect setup today. And I'm glad that everyone made some money on that. Verizon, again, passed that one on. Walmart, WMT. And again, what's great about having the chat room is, people bringing these stocks to my attention. And this was brought to my attention. Love the setup here. Quality name. Nice pullback. And it actually formed a nice outside day. Well, there's a couple things I like on this. Little stochastic double bounce area. Or actually a double bounce area. The stochastic. 60-minute chart here. We have a recognizable pattern. We get down close to that level, and bada boom, off to the races we go. The key here is, again, knowing that 60 minutes oversold. And this was a multiple time frame entry, which we still, even though we didn't get down to this level, we understand that the downward patterns here, we sold off a little. We're oversold on the 60, the 15. I think this is the reason I took this. 15, and of course the daily. Double bounce. So multiple time frame, looks good. Outside day actually forming. This one looks like it has some upside tomorrow. I'm looking forward to continue to profit on this. But another good example of what we look for: recognizable patterns, risk reward, everything lining up properly, and boom, off to the races. 60-minute chart. Also used a 60-minute chart as our exit. So we get up tomorrow. I'm almost guaranteeing that we're going to see a further move here on Walmart. We flagged out nicely. We get a little further move. This will extend up here into an overbought level, and we'll take profits and we'll move on, and then the next setup will come along. And that next setup could be, see what my notes are telling me, or our Gilead. Gilead, that was a good one too. Even though it did flush out of the gap here, and I got taken out on that one scalp. I got right back in because I said, you know what, let's do it with the options. It'll be a little less risk, and we made that money right back on the options. So, and actually, we took that trade. The options was, I have my platform is down now, but made over 50% on the trade basically. I mean, just trading the options on that, and I'm loving that. So, again, a recognizable channel. Even though we did get a little flush under there, the 60-minute stochastics were perfectly lined up for a buy signal. We had multiple indicators and multiple time frames, everything pointing to that pop, and we did pop. Left a nice candlestick. It's kind of up in the air tomorrow if we continue to see that bounce, but I think we might. Either way, it's going to take profits tomorrow on that. And Gilead, G-I-L-D. So you're wondering what's going to set up, Johnny? What's going to set up tomorrow? Let me get some other things up here in front of you. So we did the gold. We sold the Gilead. Scalp, bought the Gilead, sold the Gilead. Oh, Allstate. Now here was another great example of what we look for. Recognizable patterns, daily. You see an underlying daily trend line. We came right down to it. Oversold, check. But also that 60-minute chart was really key for our entry in this. And this is what I love. When you get down here in an oversold level, boom, you're oversold on the 60. You have that recognizable channel. That channel is very recognizable, right? You have one pivot, two pivot, three pivot. Draw that parallel trend line. You hit it here, you hit it here, you hit it here. and it's just a recognizable pattern, and it stays a recognizable pattern, especially if you get a wicked move down to a lower trend line, pretty steep sell-off here and a follow-through. You want to be all over that trend line. That's what we were. So we got a nice follow-through, closed on the highs. Well, we got in right off the trend line, and hopefully this will bounce tomorrow, continue to bounce up, and take profits on that too. So these are all still setting up pretty good, but the entries were key today because we had tremendous discipline on waiting for what we wanted to get. And there's continue to go over and over these. But let's take a look at a couple possible setups for tomorrow. First of all, love the Google. Call the Google at, believe it or not, I was banging the table on Google for a big move up off of the 55 level, the 855 level, 855 level. Let me see what, and we ended up closing above 865, actually 864, 867. What did we close here? I don't even, 860, let's break it down on a 5-minute chart. 867 and change. 867 and change. Over a 10-point move. We're banging the table. 855, banging the table. Watch for that mega move. And boom, there it went. Also talked about the options, which options were good for the scalp there. And it ripped higher. And now you take a look at Google, and we just take a look at Google here. The last time we were in a similar situation, we had that little down day. And remember, stocks love to take out that consolidation to the downside before reversing. For whatever reason, the weak hands, the market has it. The market knows where the weak hands are. And when you have a setup, you usually see if there was a recent low, which we had here, people get more concerned about this recent low and not really understanding that there's a beautiful support line down here, as a recognizable channel line. But the case was we actually broke down, reversed. The next day we fired up. But the key was also that we were pretty much oversold and, a nice little flag. Now, we're definitely oversold here. We had a big candlestick reversal. And the key is we took out those 3 days. Those 3 days consolidation, we stopped everyone out, probably scared the bejesus out of the people. Oh my God, it's down 20 points. Next thing you know, it's down 4 points. And, the story goes that tomorrow there could be a potential huge move here in Google. And I think, that flag would be fantastic. We see that breakout to the upside on that. So Google definitely to be watched tomorrow. And we brought a couple of stocks coming up on earnings coming up. Verifone is going to be PAY on Wednesday, and Thursday we have Sienna and NAV. I think those two are interesting. But let's just take a look at SAP. And again, you have to be pretty much listening to the radio to see these setups live, as these were announced live. Of course, the SAP looks like one of the key setups I love. Just underneath the 200 period moving average does not bother me, when we trade under that, especially if there's an underlying trend line there. Recognizable pattern. We already got that bounce. We're oversold on the daily. 60-minute chart, not oversold yet. Love to get a bounce on this. Love to take this one higher. So this is actually looking really good. SAP trades over in foreign markets, hence the gappage you see in the chart. But wow, what a beautiful chart. Put that one up on the wall there. So this one looking for a bounce tomorrow. Halliburton, HAL. This is a playbook play, and we talked about playbook plays. A new one could be released today, the 1-2-3 pattern. I just released that to the members today. This one is called the Channel Breakout Stochastic Rotation, also found in the forum area of Day Trading Radio. Let me see if actually I can find that for you fast. All right, just to update you, because a lot of people don't know where the forum is, the members and stuff. A lot of members are going to get this anyway. So you go to the Day Trading Radio site. Right on the bottom here, when you sign in, you'll see forums on the bottom. Forums. And right here, you click on that. And if you're not logged in, you use your same username and password that you log onto the site. You log it right up there, put log in, and boom, you're in. I'm already logged in, so I don't need to do it. And then you're going to go to the home, and you're going to see a couple of news threads, what we call the threads in a bulletin board type of system here. These are trader discussions, trading discussions, a lot of good information here, a lot of education. Just a lot of education here. There's the Top Step stuff, media, traders trades, news, analysis. But right here, the third one down, it's called the DayTraderRockStar Playbook. Open that up, and these are all the setups that we look for here in Day Trading Radio. The latest 1, 2, 3 pattern, but we're going to talk about the one we're looking at right now. Channel breakout, stochastic rotation, right here. Playbook number 2. Click on that. You'll see that the video comes up, and you can actually watch that video right here. It explains everything about it. Very good breakdown of that. So that's how you get to that. You click on that. You could very much see this channel line breakout, the stochastic rotation right one here, the bounce off of here. So we're going to go back to what we're looking at now. And here we are once again here. Sorry about that. Here's your channel breakout. This is the first time the stochastic's rotating back down. And we're going to look for this bounce. This one is great. It's textbook. Oversold daily. I mean, I can't wait. Can't wait till tomorrow. I got that trading feeling again. 60-minute chart here. Dual stochastic. It started running at the end of the day. We knew it was going to run. It is on its way here. Great setup going into tomorrow. And Schlumberger SLB. Very similar, but we have a wedge pattern playing out here, which is even a very strong pattern. Now, what is a wedge pattern? Wedge pattern. It is a pattern. It definitely is. It's something that we see in textbooks and stuff, see it over and over again. But can you believe that a wedge pattern is just an incomplete channel? So whenever you see a wedge pattern, downward wedge typically break to the upside into 65 to 75% into their pattern. Meaning if you extend that wedge pattern before it gets to the end, which would be 100%, and this is going to be around that 65 to 75% time is when you get that breakout to the upside. And to kind of measure how that breakout's going to work out, you take this top trend line, downward wedge, you take that top trend line and you extend that out from that main pivot area, which is up here. This is how you do a measured move. This is a good way of doing a measured move for a wedge pattern. You might read in a book, you take the size of the wedge and you extend that out from where it breaks out. Some cases it'll come up very close to that, and that's great and dandy. That's the beauty of math. But when you see patterns like this play out, remember, this is the basics of an overall channel. This is really a 1, 2, 3 pattern playing out, and you just have to put your parallel trend line here. So instead of putting a parallel trend line there, we just extend this wedge pattern out until it goes parallel with that. You know, just move it up here a little, right there. And that's really going to be our target on this trade. So Schlumberger, very easy to figure out the target. Going to be about $75. Well, you know, depending on how fast we get up there, it's a 60-minute chart. We could move up there fast tomorrow. We could bang around and end up coming down here eventually. But that is basically where you want to concentrate on, you know, maybe even a possible short. But right now, you can see the risk reward here definitely adding up to the upside, because it is that wedge pattern and it looks golden. So looking good on Schlumberger tomorrow too. SAP, Schlumberger, so many other good ones. Hey, tune in. We're going to be trading these tomorrow live on the air, so enjoy it. And we'll see you tomorrow on daytradingradio.com, 8 o'clock in the morning. Talk to you then.